Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going on a quest, but instead of just talking about AI, we're actually going to build one, right here. Our mission? To forge a tool that can conquer a problem we all face every single day, just information overload. You know that feeling, right? That daily tidal wave of articles, reports, emails. It's just impossible to keep up. So what if we could build an AI that does the heavy lifting for us? That's exactly what we're doing today. Building a tool that can whip up perfect, bite-sized summaries, and here's the cool part, do it in both English and Spanish.
So our AI hero needs to learn. And you know, like any good student, it needs the right textbook. The first major hurdle is finding a huge data set where you have long pieces of text and their perfect summaries already sitting there side by side.
And it turns out, the perfect training material wasn't in some top-secret research lab. Nope. It was hiding in a place that you've probably already been to this week, a place where millions of people are constantly writing texts and then summarizing them, totally for free.
Yep, the answer was Amazon Reviews. Specifically, this amazing resource called the multilingual Amazon Reviews corpus. Think about it. For years, millions of customers have been creating the perfect dataset for us without even knowing it. They write a long, detailed review. That's our input, the review body. Then they write a short, punchy headline for it. That's our solution, the review title. It's basically a pre-made text-to-summary training ground just waiting for us.
But, you know, raw data is always messy. You can't just throw all 400,000 reviews at your model and hope for the best. You got to refine it. So first, we filter it by domain, which we'll get to in a sec. Then we mix the English and Spanish reviews into one big bilingual pile. And finally, we do some cleaning, getting rid of reviews where the title is just like, good, or meh, because that's not going to teach our model anything useful.
And to get this thing trained efficiently on a single GPU without, waiting for weeks, we decided to focus our efforts. We filtered this huge collection of products down to just the books and ebooks categories. This really narrows the scope, which means the model only has to learn the vocabulary of one specific area, and that lets us build and test things way, way faster.
Okay, so with our perfectly prepped bilingual training data ready to go, it's time to pick the right brain for the job, the AI model that's actually going to learn how to do the summarizing.
Now, there are a lot of amazing models out there. Models like Pegasus and T5 are absolute beasts at summarizing text. But they've got one big problem for our project. They only speak English. Our goal is bilingual from the ground up, and that's why we're choosing MT5, the multilingual version of T5, to be our champion.
And here's why this model is so powerful. Unlike its cousins that were only trained on a massive pile of English text, MT5 was pre-trained on this colossal dataset called MC4, which has text from 101 different languages all jumbled together. So it hasn't just learned English grammar. It's learned the deep underlying patterns of language itself, which makes it a natural fit for our bilingual challenge. So we've got our data, we've got our model, we let it train. But how do we actually know if it's any good? We can't just look at a couple of summaries and say, yeah, looks good to me. We need a standardized, totally objective way to grade its homework.
And for that, we use a metric called the Rouge score. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It automatically compares the summary our AI came up with against the original human-written one, in our case, the review title, and it scores how many of the words overlap. Generally speaking, a higher overlap means a better summary. But Rouge is more than just one number. It's a really clever balancing act between two key ideas. On one side, you have precision. Precision basically asks, is the summary relevant? It punishes the AI for adding a bunch of extra fluffy words that weren't in the original. Then on the other side, you have recall, which asks, is the summary complete? And this punishes the AI for leaving out important words. A truly great model has to nail both.
But before we can start celebrating our model's genius, we need some perspective. Getting a score of, say, 20, what does that even mean? Is that good? To find out, we have to compare it against a really simple, common-sense approach to prove our fancy AI is actually worth all the effort.
And this simple approach is called the Lead 3 baseline. It is ridiculously simple. It just grabs the first 3 sentences of any text and calls that the summary. It's a surprisingly tough benchmark to beat, especially for news articles. But let's see how it stacks up against our short and sweet book reviews. And the results are in. The simple Lead 3 baseline gets a respectable score of 8.8. But our fine-tuned MT5 model, it comes in with a Raj score of 22.5.
It didn't just beat the baseline, it absolutely crushed it. This is the proof that our model really learned the art of summarization, not just some dumb copy-paste trick.
A high score is great and all, but what does that actually look like in the real world? Let's take our brand new model for a little victory lap and feed it some reviews it has never seen before.
Okay, first up, here's an English review for a calendar. The user loves it, but they have one specific complaint. It's just too big. So it's a pretty nuanced opinion. What will our AI make of it?
And there it is, perfect. A lovely calendar, but so big. Now notice how the AI didn't just copy and paste words, it performed something called abstractive summarization. It actually understood the core ideas, lovely and big, and then it generated a brand new sentence that perfectly captures the feeling. That's a huge deal. Okay, now for the real test. Remember, this is a single, bilingual model, so let's give it a Spanish review that it's never seen before. This one's super positive, praising the book for being easy to read, having a great presentation, excellent quality, the works.
And the summary gives us is muy fácil de leer, which just means very easy to read. Once again, it pinpoints the single most important compliment in the entire review and serves it up as a clean, perfect summary. Our bilingual champion totally succeeded.
So, what are the big lessons from our quest? Well, first, that clever data sourcing is often way more important than the fancy algorithm itself. We saw that to build for a global audience, you have to think multilingual with models like MT5. We proved why it's so important to measure your success against a simple baseline. And maybe most exciting of all, we saw that AI can be genuinely creative. It can understand an idea, not just copy words. And this really leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. Summarization isn't just about making text shorter, it's about understanding. It requires you to grasp the core argument, the sentiment, the key details. So as AI gets better and better at this fundamental skill of understanding language, what other complex human domains is it going to master next?